Have you ever scratched your head wondering why some ideas, some products or messages just don't just spread, they absolutely explode, like catch fire almost overnight?
Hmm.
Meanwhile, others, even ones that seem, inherently brilliant or really interesting, they just fizzle out.
It's a really common frustration, isn't it?
Yeah.
And very real. Think about the restaurant industry, for example.
Okay.
It's like a hotbed of constant innovation, new concepts, incredible chefs pushing boundaries. Yet the stats are just brutal.
Tell me about it.
Over 25% of new restaurants fail within just 12 months. And a shocking 60% are gone within 3 years.
Yeah.
That's just, wow.
That's a massive amount of effort, passion, capital, just poof, vanishing.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's such a high-stakes gamble. And often, we assume the answer lies in these huge advertising budgets or maybe really clever social media campaigns.
Right. That's the go-to thought.
But what if the real driving force is something much older, much more organic? Consider this. Word of mouth, good old-fashioned human connection. That drives anywhere from 20 to 50% of all purchases.
Which is huge.
Huge. And here's the kicker, the really surprising part. Only about 7% of that powerful word of mouth actually happens online.
Only 7%.
The real conversation, the real influence, it's still happening face-to-face.
That 7% figure often stuns people, doesn't it? It just completely challenges this prevailing notion that virality is almost exclusively a digital thing.
Right.
So if the overwhelming majority of influential word of mouth isn't happening on our screens, then we really have to ask, what is truly going on?
Yeah, what's the secret sauce?
And how can we, as listeners, even begin to understand that and maybe harness that often unseen force in our own work, our ideas, or even just our daily lives?
That's exactly the mission for our deep dive today. We're going to unlock the hidden science behind contagiousness. We're moving beyond these simplistic ideas of like luck or just going viral. Our insights are drawn directly from Jonah Berger's groundbreaking, and I have to say, incredibly practical book, Contagious: Why Things Catch On.
And our goal here isn't just to tell you what makes things spread. We want to equip you with concrete, actionable tools and insights.
Right. Practical takeaways.
Exactly. This isn't just about understanding theory. It's about giving you principles that you can apply immediately. To make anything a product, an innovative idea, maybe a social cause you care about, or even your own professional brand, make it more contagious.
And the best part.
Well, the best part is it doesn't require a massive advertising budget or, an existing social media empire. It's about engineering your content, your message, to be inherently shareable.
Okay, let's unpack this blueprint then. It sounds fascinating. Berger has distilled his research into this fantastic, really memorable framework he calls STEPPS, STEPPS.
Yep, STEPPS.
Think of it as our roadmap for this entire deep dive. Each letter represents a core principle: social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories.
And what's really compelling is that these aren't just, abstract academic concepts.
No theory here.
Right. They are derived from meticulously studying both massive successes and spectacular failures. So it gives us this clear, systematic path to understanding what makes things stick, spread, and resonate.
So let's begin. Let's start by truly comprehending the immense power of this, unseen force. Word of mouth.
Okay, so to truly grasp contagiousness, we first have to confront and challenge some really deeply ingrained assumptions.
Like that online thing.
Exactly. The most pervasive one, as you just highlighted, is this belief that most word of mouth happens online. We're inundated with social media feeds, viral videos, trending topics.
It feels like it's all online.
It feels like it,
Yeah.
so it's natural to assume that's where all the action is. However, research by the Keller-Fay Group definitively revealed only a meager 7% of word-of-mouth conversations actually occur in the digital realm.
And that number just floors so many people, doesn't it? They might argue, but we spend so much time online. And yeah, it's true. The average person spends close to 2 hours a day on digital platforms.
Seems like a lot.
But what we often overlook is the sheer volume of time we spend offline. People spend more than 8 times as much time interacting in the physical world than they do online.
8 times.
That creates this astronomically larger arena for face-to-face conversations. I mean, think about your day. The quick chat with a barista, maybe water cooler conversations at work,
Family dinners, yeah.
catching up with neighbors, even just commuting. These seemingly mundane, everyday interactions add up. It's a vast landscape of informal personal communication.
And critically, These offline conversations, they tend to be far more impactful. While, an average tweet or a Facebook update might be broadcast to hundreds, maybe thousands of connections.
Right. The reach seems big.
The reach seems big, but the reality is only a fraction of those people will actually see every message. Algorithms, information overload. Our own research with college students showed less than 10% of their friends even responded to a message they posted online.
Wow, less than 10%.
In stark contrast, offline conversations are typically more intimate, often one-on-one, and therefore inherently more focused, potentially more persuasive.
Makes sense. You have their attention.
Exactly. When someone is speaking directly to you, they have your full attention. The online world's immense visibility certainly makes it seem more dominant, right? Because it's so easy to track, quantify, publicize. But its actual share of influence, when measured by real-world impact, is significantly lower.
That's such a crucial distinction. So it's not just about getting people to see something online. It's about inspiring them to actually talk about it, whether that conversation happens digitally or, more likely in person. And that brings us to another, pervasive myth that virality hinges on influencers or, how persuasive the messenger is.
Right. The influencer obsession.
We're constantly told to chase the celebrities, the mega bloggers, the people with millions of followers. But what if the content itself, the idea at its core, is the real engine of spread?
Exactly. Debunking that influencer myth is fundamental here. Think of it like this. Some jokes are just so inherently funny, right? So perfectly crafted. They spread like wildfire, regardless of who tells them.
Yeah, even if my uncle tells it.
Exactly. Even if someone isn't a particularly charismatic comedian, if they deliver a truly hilarious joke, it'll still land and get laughs.
Yeah.
Contagious content operates on this same principle.
Okay.
It's so inherently compelling, so intrinsically shareable, that it takes on a life of its own. It spreads regardless of how persuasive the messenger is or whether they have 10 friends or 10,000. The content itself is the star.
That's a really powerful reframe. It means that simply creating a brand Facebook page or, tweeting regularly or just being on social media, that doesn't automatically guarantee your message will find an audience and spread.
Not at all. And the statistics bear this out. 50% of all YouTube videos, for example, have fewer than 500 views.
Half of them.
Half. And only 1/3 of 1% of videos ever break that 1 million view mark. This vividly highlights that simply having a presence is not a strategy. The content itself must be meticulously designed for sharing. It's about the intrinsic quality, the underlying shareability of the idea or product, not just who happens to be delivering it.
Okay, so this brings us to the core premise of Berger's research and really this deep dive. Contagiousness isn't some accidental, lightning in a bottle thing.
Not just luck.
It's not about luck or random chance. It can, in fact, be systematically engineered. And you might naturally assume that only inherently remarkable things like, cutting-edge high-tech gadgets or Hollywood blockbusters can go viral.
With the cool stuff.
But what this research shows is that even the most mundane, seemingly unremarkable products or ideas can be made infectious by deliberately uncovering and amplifying their inner remarkability.
Inner remarkability. I love that phrase.
It's brilliant, isn't it? And a perfect, almost legendary example of this in action is Blendtec blenders.
Ah, yes, Blendtec.
The CEO, Tom Dixon, he developed this incredibly powerful product, right? A blender that was genuinely superior, but hardly anyone knew about it. Classic awareness problem.
Yep, common challenge.
Instead of pouring money into traditional advertising, he took a totally different approach. He decided to demonstrate the blender's brute strength in the most unexpected way possible.
Yeah, you do.
He grabbed 50 ordinary glass marbles, dropped them into one of his blenders, and just hit the button.
Marbles, seriously.
Seriously. The marbles rat-tatted around, grinding violently, and 15 seconds later, he stopped the blender. What he found wasn't just crushed glass, it was pure powder. He'd pulverized solid glass marbles.
Wow, okay, that's impressive.
This led to his now iconic Will It Blend video series. He proceeded to blend everything. iPhones, golf balls, broom handles, even a rake.
A rake. Oh my God.
The premise was simple, but the demonstration of the blender's inner remarkability, its surprising extreme power, was just undeniably compelling.
And those Will It Blend videos became an absolute sensation, didn't they? Millions of views, widespread media attention.
All, with almost no advertising budget whatsoever. It wasn't about a celebrity endorsement or a slick commercial. It leveraged the inherent, surprising capability of the product itself to generate widespread conversation.
It demonstrates unequivocally that contagiousness is not about luck. It's about understanding and applying specific, repeatable principles.
And that brings us directly to our very first STEP PS principle, social currency. Okay, so the first principle, social currency. This one really resonates, I think, with how we navigate the social world, how we consciously or maybe subconsciously present ourselves.
Totally.
The core idea is brilliantly simple. People share things that make them look good.
That's the essence of it.
We're talking about things that make them appear smart, witty, cool, insightful, or just, in the know.
Think of it quite literally as a form of currency, like money. Just as the clothes we wear or the car we drive can influence how others see our status or taste.
Right, those external signals.
What we choose to talk about, what ideas or products we champion, profoundly influences how others see us. People are inherently driven to share information that lets them appear entertaining, clever, hip, insightful.
And they avoid the opposite.
And conversely, they instinctively avoid sharing things that might make them or others look bad, foolish, or out of touch. Like, you're far more likely to boast about getting a reservation at that exclusive hot new restaurant.
Oh, yeah, definitely telling everyone about that.
Than you are to admit that the hotel you booked had a, let's say, less than glamorous view of the parking lot.
Guilty. We curate our conversations, don't we? Just like our online profiles.
Exactly. We curate everything.
That makes perfect sense. There's this fundamental human desire to be liked, respected, seen in a positive light within our social circles. So the million-dollar question becomes, how do we craft messages, design products, shape ideas in a way that lets people achieve these social impressions just by sharing them?
Well, Berger suggests it all starts with finding what he calls inner remarkability.
There it is again. Inner remarkability.
Inner remarkability, as we touched on earlier, means uncovering what is truly unusual, extraordinary, or genuinely worthy of notice about your product, service, or idea.
Doesn't have to be revolutionary tech.
Nope. It can be novel, surprising, or even extreme. The goal is just to make something inherently worthy of remark, worthy of mention.
Okay.
A classic example is Snapple's Real Facts on the inside of their bottle caps.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah. Short, quirky, genuinely surprising tidbits like an ant can lift 50 times its own weight, or it's impossible for most people to lick their own elbow.
Did you just try?
Maybe. These facts are inherently shareable because they give you this quick, interesting piece of trivia that makes you seem knowledgeable or entertaining. Instant social currency.
Or consider another, more extreme example that became legendary, the $100 cheesesteak from Barclay Prime in Philadelphia.
The $100 cheesesteak.
Yes. Chef Howard Wynn wasn't just making another cheesesteak, he was creating a gastronomic conversation piece. This wasn't just any sandwich. Kobe beef, truffle shavings, butter-poached Maine lobster, served with a split of Veuve Clicquot champagne.
Wow, that's decadent.
It transcended being just a meal. It became an experience. People literally rushed to tell others about it. One diner called it like eating gold.
Huh. Like eating gold.
Another noted the absurd storytelling rights it gave you. This incredibly unusual, luxurious, extreme offering was so inherently shareable. It generated immense social currency for anyone who dared to try it. It became an anecdote, a badge of daring, unique knowledge to wield.
And this principle applies across the board. Remarkability can genuinely be found in any product or idea, no matter how mundane. We saw with Blendtec. You could even find remarkability in, toilet paper if you made it surprisingly soft or incredibly durable or eco-friendly in some unexpected way.
It's about challenging assumptions, right? Finding that unique hidden gem that makes it worth talking about.
Exactly. Beyond inherent remarkability, another really effective way to leverage social currency is through clever use of game mechanics.
Ah, game mechanics, like points and badges.
Precisely. Think about basic elements like points, levels, badges, leaderboards. They motivate people by providing visible ways for them to show off achievements and progress.
Airlines are masters of this, aren't they? Frequent flyer programs.
Absolutely. Achieving a status like Delta Platinum Medallion isn't just about the practical perks like upgrades or lounge access. It's profoundly about the status itself.
The bragging rights.
People don't just enjoy those benefits. They boast about them. They talk about their elite status, priority boarding, their miles. And in doing so, they indirectly promote the brand. Why? Because what good is status if no one else knows you have it?
True.
Similarly, Foursquare, back in its heyday, leveraged this brilliantly with badges. Being the mayor of a place or earning a jet setter badge.
Oh yeah, people loved being
There
mayor.
were visible symbols of status that users proudly displayed on social media, feeding that desire for recognition.
It really taps into a fundamental human desire for hierarchy, for recognition, for that satisfaction of doing better than others, even without money involved. Look at fantasy football leagues. Most people play for free, just for bragging rights. The motivation isn't cash, it's the social currency of winning, of being seen as smart or skilled.
These game mechanics brilliantly get people talking by letting them showcase achievements. And along the way, they inevitably talk about the brands, the platforms, the places where those achievements happen. It's ingenious, really,
Yeah.
turning users into unpaid promoters.
Okay, so inner remarkability, game mechanics. What's the third way?
The third powerful method is making people feel like insiders,
Yeah.
often through scarcity or exclusivity.
Ooh, exclusivity. People love that.
If something is limited in availability or requires exclusive access, it instantly makes people feel special, unique, high status. And that sense of elevated status acts as a powerful catalyst for word of mouth.
The ultimate example of this, maybe my favorite, is Please Don't Tell. That secret bar hidden inside a hot dog joint in New York.
PDT, yes, classic example.
No sign, no obvious entrance. You go into this antique phone booth inside Criff Dogs, dial a secret number, and if you have a reservation, the back of the booth swings open. Secret bar.
It's like something out of a movie.
Totally. This hidden entrance, the unlisted number, it creates this unparalleled sense of exclusivity. Visitors feel like they've stumbled into a genuinely secret club, and they become these enthusiastic ambassadors who can't wait to share their insider knowledge.
Even the business card just says, please don't tell, with a phone number, reinforces the whole mystique.
And it's not just hip bars. Rue La La, that online discount shopping site, it initially struggled.
I remember that.
The CEO, Ben Fishman, made a strategic shift. Invitation-only model. This simple change completely transformed its image. From a floundering discount site to this desirable, exclusive club, suddenly it felt special.
Exactly. Friends became their best ambassadors, eagerly inviting others because, in doing so, it made them look good. They were providing access to this exclusive deal. That perception shift fueled their growth.
Even giants like Disney use this, right? With their
Yeah.
Disney Vault strategy for the animated movies.
Oh, yeah. Making beloved classics like Snow White or Pinocchio available for purchase only for limited times, then locking them away for years.
Creates that urgency.
Immense urgency and perceived value. It's not just about owning the movie, it's being part of that now or never experience.
Yep.
You had to get it before it went back into the vault.
So this strategy reinforces that having insider knowledge, exclusive access, or being part of a fleeting opportunity, that's powerful social currency.
Absolutely. It compels people to share, to enhance their own social standing. Makes you feel unique, and that feeling is inherently shareable. Okay, moving on to our second principle. Triggers. This is a fascinating concept. It explains how environmental cues, the sights, sounds, experiences in our daily lives can constantly remind people of products, ideas, even entire brands.
Right. It's about keeping things top of mind, tip of tongue, these subtle nudges that prompt us to think and talk about certain things without even realizing it.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting because it kind of challenges our intuition.
Oh, so.
Well, think about this for a moment. Which do you think generates more ongoing word-of-mouth Disney World or Cheerios?
Instinctively, Disney World, right. It's remarkable, once in a lifetime maybe, magic, excitement.
That's what most people would say. But if you consider sustained, ongoing word-of-mouth over weeks and months, the answer is often Cheerios.
Cheerios, really, but why?
Simple. You see Cheerios almost every single morning at breakfast, or you're thinking about buying them at the grocery store. The mundane, frequently encountered things in our daily lives, like a breakfast cereal, act as consistent, subtle triggers.
Ah, the frequency.
Frequency is key. Disney World, while incredible, might be a one-time conversation for most people, maybe 2 or 3 times tops. But Cheerios, that's a daily repetitive exposure.
So this highlights a crucial distinction then, immediate versus ongoing word of mouth.
Precisely. Immediate word of mouth happens soon after an experience. Like you excitedly telling me about a really remarkable pirate costume you saw at a work event today.
Okay, that initial buzz, driven by how interesting or surprising something is.
Right. But that initial spark doesn't necessarily last. ongoing word of mouth, the conversations that naturally happen weeks or months later that's powerfully driven by these triggers. Things like Ziploc bags, while undeniably boring,
Really boring.
get talked about week in and week out because they are frequently triggered in the context of our kitchens, our daily chores.
Okay, so triggers are basically these little environmental reminders that constantly bring things to mind, and we're often unaware of their power.
Often totally unaware. A classic, almost serendipitous example is how Mars bar sales saw this unexpected, significant uptick during NASA's Mars Pathfinder mission back in '97.
No way, just because of the name.
Just because of the name. The very word Mars, prominent in news headlines, discussions about the mission to the planet Mars, literally acted as a trigger. It subtly reminded people of the candy bar. No advertising, just a powerful external cue.
And it goes even deeper than that, influencing even important decisions like voting.
It can, yes.
Yeah.
Consider the subtle influence of voting booth locations. Research found that where people vote can actually affect how they vote.
Get out. How?
People assigned to cast ballots in a school surrounded by desks, chalkboards, posters of kids were found to be significantly more likely to support education initiatives or school funding compared to those voting elsewhere.
Wow. Those contextual cues triggered subconscious thoughts about kids' education.
Exactly. Subtly influencing behavior. And then there's the curious, almost perplexing case of Rebecca Black's infamous Friday song.
Oh, God, Friday, don't remind me.
Sorry. Despite being widely panned by critics as, well, one of the worst songs ever,
That's putting it mildly.
it exploded into a viral phenomenon. Millions upon millions of views. The song itself, by conventional standards, wasn't good.
Not at all.
But it received a powerful, consistent, ubiquitous trigger every single week. The arrival of Friday.
Every Friday, people thought of the song.
Every time someone thought it's Friday, it potentially triggered thoughts of the song, keeping it top of mind, driving discussion, fueling its surprising viewership. Its longevity wasn't about quality. It was about its persistent trigger.
That's a fascinating example of how even, bad content can become contagious if it's consistently triggered. So how do we intentionally design effective triggers? What are the key factors?
Well, designing effective triggers requires careful strategic thought about a few critical factors.
Yeah.
Frequency, the strength of the link, and proximity to the desired behavior.
Okay, frequency, strength, proximity.
High-frequency triggers are great, obviously. Many opportunities for connection, but the link between the cue and your product or idea must be strong and ideally unique.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes, exactly. Peanut butter very frequently triggers jelly because of their strong, almost unique association. If your product is linked to something common or weak or ambiguous, it's far less effective. You want a clear, direct mental connection.
And proximity, you mentioned that. This seems incredibly important. I'm thinking about that New Zealand PSA for bath mats.
Yes, the bath mat.
It was clever, memorable, showed a shocking slip in the shower. Definitely stuck with you. But the problem...
You can't buy a bath mat in the bathroom.
Right. The message, while impactful, was physically removed from the desired behavior. You had to remember it until you got to a store, which, in the hustle of daily life.
Highly unlikely. That lack of proximity significantly hampered its effectiveness, despite the creative execution.
Contrast that with the NYC Department of Health's Man Drinks Fat anti-soda ad.
Oof, that one was visceral.
Vividly showed a person pouring fat, like actual blobs of fat, out of a soda can, illustrating the hidden sugar. It was repulsive, yeah.
Definitely repulsive.
But highly effective because it triggered the message, don't drink sugary drinks, precisely when people were thinking of drinking a soda. That immediate proximity of trigger to action made it powerful and shareable. The disgust was activated in the moment of decision.
And one of the most brilliant examples of growing a trigger's habitat, creating a new pervasive trigger for your brand, is Kit Kat's campaign, linking their candy bar to coffee.
Kit Kat and coffee. Yes.
Kit Kat sales had actually been declining, but by consistently pairing the two together with that iconic slogan, Kit Kat and coffee, they forged a powerful new association to a frequent daily trigger, the coffee break.
Genius, tying it to an existing ritual.
This simple yet incredibly powerful association revived the brand, led to a remarkable increase in sales by a third. They didn't just advertise. They subtly reprogrammed a common daily ritual to include their product.
That's brilliant. And this idea can even be weaponized, so to speak, like a poison parasite strategy.
Indeed. Imagine an anti-smoking message cleverly placed alongside, say, a Marlboro cowboy ad. maybe with a caption like, "Bob, I've got emphysema."
Batch.
This subtly injects your counter message directly into the rival's highly visible, frequently encountered ad, making their own marketing a trigger for your message, leveraging their reach against them.
It really emphasizes that context, and the triggers within that context matter far more than just having a catchy message. Think about Geico's caveman ads.
Funny, memorable, creative.
Undeniably.
Yeah.
But how often do you encounter a caveman in daily life? Not often enough to act as a frequent trigger for Geico.
Right, low-frequency trigger.
Compare that to Budweiser's Wassup campaign from the late 90s.
Oh man, Wassup, that was everywhere.
It wasn't the cleverest campaign ever, but Wassup was a popular, frequently used greeting among young men globally. Just greeting friends triggered thoughts of Budweiser.
Making it a truly global phenomenon.
Because it leveraged an existing high-frequency social trigger. So triggers don't just get people talking. Crucially, they keep them talking consistently over time.
All right, our next principle is emotion. This is the profound idea that when we care, we share. It's about how highly arousing emotions, both positive and negative, act as powerful catalysts, driving sharing behavior and making content spread.
This was vividly shown in that fascinating study of the New York Times' most emailed list, right? Where they tracked the articles people shared the most online.
Exactly. Researchers systematically analyzed thousands of articles to understand what made them resonate enough to be widely forwarded. And the findings were incredibly insightful, maybe a bit counterintuitive for some.
How so? What did they find?
Well, the study indeed found that positive articles were consistently more likely to be shared. Articles that evoked awe, that powerful sense of wonder, amazement, feeling like you're confronting something greater than yourself, performed particularly well.
Like captivating science articles or amazing nature photos, stuff that makes you go, wow.
Precisely. But here's the truly interesting twist. Articles that evoked high arousal negative emotions, like anger or anxiety, were also significantly more likely to make the most emailed list.
So anger and anxiety drove sharing too. Interesting. What about sadness?
Sadness, conversely, which is considered low arousal, actually tended to decrease sharing.
Okay, so it's not just positive versus negative. It's about something deeper, something physiological. This concept of arousal. Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by physiological arousal here?
Certainly. Psychologists don't just categorize emotions by their positive or negative valence, but also by their level of physiological arousal, basically, how much they activate our bodies and minds.
Like getting your heart racing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
High arousal emotions are those that get our hearts racing, our palms sweating, our minds buzzing. These include positive emotions like awe, excitement, amusement, but also negative emotions like anger, anxiety, and disgust.
So both positive and negative can be high arousal.
Yes. These emotions kindle the fire, so to speak. They make us feel agitated, energized, and compel us to do something, to take action. And that action often manifests as sharing.
So if you're feeling that profound sense of awe after reading about a scientific breakthrough, or you're incredibly amused by a genuinely funny video, you're internally compelled to share that experience. And it's the same driving force for anger or anxiety. That emotion creates an internal pressure to act.
Precisely. Awe, for instance, dramatically boosts sharing. Remember the viral audition to Susan Boyle on Britain's Got Talent?
Oh yeah, that was incredible. Gave me goosebumps.
Her performance, so unexpected and breathtakingly powerful, evoked immense awe across the globe, led to its rapid spread. Similarly, anger and anxiety are potent drivers. The United Breaks Guitars video.
Oh, the poor guy whose guitar got smashed by the airline.
Exactly. That exploded online, fueled by collective anger, a sense of injustice. It wasn't just a video, it was a rallying cry that reportedly caused United stock to drop $180 million in just 4 days.
Wow, that's real impact.
And who can forget the pure viral amusement from David After Dentist or Charlie Bit My Finger?
Classics. Still funny.
These humorous, lighthearted videos are among the most viewed on YouTube because humor is a high-arousal, positive emotion that just begs to be shared.
This insight fundamentally changes how we think about communicating then. It means just conveying information often isn't enough to make something spread.
Not usually, no.
Evoking a strong, high-arousal emotion is often the crucial ingredient.
Indeed. Google's Parisian Love ad is a prime example. Instead of a dry, technical tutorial on search functions,
Which nobody would share.
right, they presented this beautifully crafted, poignant love story unfolding entirely through Google search queries. From study abroad, Paris, France, to translate to a très mignon, to chocolate shops in Paris.
Ah, I remember that one. It was so sweet.
It evoked this visceral, teary-eyed emotional response. It made Google search feel deeply personal, profoundly impactful, transformed it from a mere tool into a catalyst for human connection. People shared it not because it explained search, but because it made them feel something powerful.
And it seems negative emotions, when used strategically, can be just as powerful, maybe even more so sometimes.
Absolutely. Take BMW's The Hire series of short internet films from 2001.
Oh, with Clive Owen. Those were cool.
High-octane action films for their luxury cars.
Hmm.
Riddled with kidnappings, car chases, near-death experiences, evoking strong fear and anxiety.
Definitely high arousal negative.
Incredibly gripping.
Yeah.
Racked up over 11 million views in 4 months, significantly boosted BMW sales by 12%. And remember the NYC Man Drinks Fat PSA we mentioned.
Ugh, yes. Can't see that.
Its profound disgust factor, another high-arousal negative emotion, made it incredibly memorable and encouraged widespread sharing because people felt compelled to warn others.
That's truly fascinating how our emotional state can influence sharing, even when the emotion isn't directly related to the content itself. You mentioned that arousal from any source can lead to increased sharing.
That's right. It's a subtle but powerful effect. We conducted an experiment where some participants jogged lightly in place for a minute while others sat still. Both groups then read an article completely unrelated to physical activity.
Okay, what happened?
What we found was remarkable. The participants who would jog were twice as likely to share the article.
Twice as likely, even though their arousal came from jogging, not the article.
Exactly. The arousal source didn't matter. Their heightened physiological state led to more sharing.
That's wild. So if you're at the gym or watching an exciting game or even stuck on a turbulent flight, that heightened state could inadvertently make you overshare information.
It could, yes, even if it has nothing to do with the original source of your arousal. It truly shows how emotions, and the very physical responses they trigger, are a critical, often underestimated, component of contagiousness.
But this immense power of emotion can also backfire spectacularly, can't it? Like the Motrin baby-wearing ad controversy.
Oh, yes. A classic example of good intentions gone wrong. Motrin, the drug company, tried to show solidarity with mothers in 2008 with an ad about the aches and pains of baby wearing.
Okay, sounds reasonable so far.
The voiceover included lines like, "Baby wearing totally makes me look like an official mom, and so if I look tired and crazy, people will understand why." The intention seemed to be empathy.
Uh-oh, I can see where this is going. Tired and crazy.
Exactly. Mothers were deeply offended. They interpreted it as implying baby wearing was just a fashion statement or that it inherently made them look tired and crazy.
Yeah.
This immediately triggered intense, high-arousal, negative emotions, anger, outrage, feeling misunderstood.
And that anger spread like wildfire online.
That wave of anger led to widespread sharing across forums, social media, ultimately calls for boycotts, negative media coverage. The topic trended on Twitter. Within days, 7 out of the top 10 Google searches for Motrin and headache referred directly to the marketing debacle.
Wow. They had to pull the ad, right?
Had to pull the ad, issue a lengthy public apology. This incident powerfully illustrates that while technology amplifies the spread of high arousal emotions, that amplification can be a double-edged sword. It makes it easier for people to organize, not just for common interests, but also against perceived offenses.
Yeah.
When we care, we absolutely share, but that sharing can be powerfully for or against you.
Okay, our fifth principle, public. This really taps into a fundamental aspect of human behavior. Monkey see, monkey do.
Classic social proof.
The core idea here is incredibly intuitive. Visible behaviors create imitation. As Jonah Berger puts it so well, if it's hard to see what others are doing, it's hard to copy.
It's social proof in action. When you're choosing a restaurant, right, you see one place packed, another almost empty. Which one are you more likely to pick?
The busy one, usually. Assume popularity means quality.
Most people gravitate towards the full one, instinctively assuming popularity signals quality. We look to others for cues on how to behave, what to buy, what to believe. People imitate others in trivial choices, like what coffee brand to buy, and much more important ones.
Like paying taxes or career paths.
Paying taxes, deciding on a career path. You see that with MBA students often converging on investment banking or consulting because those fields are seen as popular, successful choices, even political views. If we don't explicitly know the right answer, or even if we do, we often look to what others are doing and follow along, consciously or unconsciously.
That's a powerful point about visibility. A fascinating, maybe even legendary example of this in product design is the Apple laptop logo thing.
Ah, the upside-down logo debate.
Steve Jobs, focused on user experience, initially insisted the logo on their laptops should be right side up for the user when the laptop was closed. Made sense for opening it.
Logical for the user. Yeah.
However, once the user opened the laptop in public, like a coffee shop or lecture hall, the logo appeared upside down to everyone else.
Right. Not great branding for onlookers.
So the primary visibility of the brand to passersby was compromised. Jobs, recognizing the immense power of branding and public visibility, made the strategic call to flip the logo.
So it's right side up to the public when open.
Exactly. Prioritizing making the brand more visible to others, allowing it to act as a public billboard. It's a perfect illustration of how social influence driven by visibility can be stronger in places like LA or Miami, where cars are more visible on the roads and thus more subject to imitation and social proof. The more visible, the more people see it, the more they consider it.
And this making public concept is crucial because most behaviors are inherently private, right? Which limits their ability to generate social proofs.
Like charitable donations, fitness routines, voting, you usually don't know who's done what.
But contagiousness often relies on transforming these private acts into public displays.
A brilliant example is the Movember Foundation.
Movember, yes.
Traditionally, supporting men's cancer research is private. Donations, quiet conversations. But Movember ingeniously turned this into a highly visible public billboard by getting men to grow mustaches for November.
Those mustaches became literal walking, talking billboards.
Totally. Sparking countless conversations, prompting donations. When someone sprouts a mustache, people ask about it. The wearer shares the story, the cause, generates new devotees, new conversations, turned a private act of support into a public statement that spurred action.
This principle also has huge implications for public health and social norms. College anti-binge drinking campaigns, for example. They initially struggled, focused on dangers, but behavior didn't shift much.
Right, just telling people it's bad doesn't always work.
But when these campaigns pivoted to making the private public, by revealing that most students were actually uncomfortable with binge drinking, it dramatically corrected false social norms.
So they showed the real norm wasn't heavy drinking.
Exactly. Students realized their peers were not all engaging in heavy drinking, which led them to reduce their own consumption by almost 30%. Making hidden preferences public altered perceived group norms and led to significant positive behavioral change.
Another ingenious way to get public visibility is by designing products or services that just inherently advertise themselves through use. Like Hotmail back in the day.
Oh yeah, Hotmail. Explosive growth in the late 90s by automatically adding PS, get your free email at Hotmail to the bottom of every single outgoing email.
Brilliant. Free, viral advertising built right in.
Every email sent became a subtle ad. Similarly, iPhone users often keep the default sent from my iPhone signature.
Guilty again. Partly laziness, partly social currency.
Probably both. It subtly promotes Apple every time, signaling a certain status or choice. And what about Christian Louboutin's iconic red lacquered soles?
Instantly recognizable, makes luxury visible from afar, advertises itself without a big logo on the outside.
Or even the Powered by WordPress or Built with Squarespace footer on many websites. Small, subtle, but pervasive self-advertisement.
Beyond products, actions themselves can leave what Berger calls behavioral residue, like physical traces.
Exactly. Tangible physical traces that serve as public proof of an action or choice, even when the product or person isn't actively present. The Livestrong wristbands are a classic, powerful example.
Those yellow bands were everywhere.
A simple, inexpensive, bright yellow wristband chosen specifically for high visibility became an incredibly powerful daily behavioral residue for cancer awareness. Transformed private support into a highly visible public signal. Sparked conversations, showed widespread support.
And the I voted stickers on Election Day, same purpose.
Exactly the same. Voting is private, behind a curtain. The sticker turns into a public signal, boosts social proof, subtly encourages others.
Even reusable shopping bags with logos or branded giveaways people use in public. They act as behavioral residue.
Online, digital behavioral residue is even more prevalent, like counts, star ratings, reviews, Spotify sharing your listening habits. All visible social proof influencing others.
However, we have to be careful about unintended social proof, right? Making bad behaviors public can backfire.
Absolutely. A huge pitfall. Making undesirable behaviors public can, paradoxically, inadvertently increase them. like some well-intentioned anti-drug commercials in the U.S.
How did they backfire?
Despite noble goals, they sometimes had the perverse effect of increasing drug use among teens. By showing scenarios where other kids are doing it, even negatively, the ads inadvertently normalized the behavior, made it seem more common or acceptable than it was, weakening the social norm against it.
Wow. That's critical, and the music industry made a similar mistake.
Perhaps equally damaging, warning consumers that only 37% of music acquired by U.S. consumers in 2009 was paid for.
Trying to highlight piracy.
But implicitly telling consumers that not paying was the norm, the majority behavior, potentially encouraging more piracy, not less. Reinforce the everybody's doing it mentality.
So the takeaway is clear. To prevent behavior, you often need to make the public private. Focus on what people should do, not highlight how many are doing it wrong.
If something is built to show, it's built to grow. For better or worse. Okay, our sixth principle, practical value. This is straightforward, but incredibly powerful. People share useful information that genuinely helps others. It's the essence of news you can use.
Stuff that improves lives, saves money, makes tasks easier. Seems intuitive, right? We want to pass along helpful things to friends, family.
Instinctively, yes. Think about the legendary Ken Craig's viral corn shucking video.
The 86-year-old corn guy.
Yes, an unexpected internet sensation. Wildly popular because he offered a genuinely practical, incredibly useful, surprisingly simple tip for shucking corn quickly and easily.
No special effects, no big production, just pure practical value.
Exactly. It resonated with everyday people because it provided tangible, immediate value. And this principle extends far beyond simple how-to videos. I remember this amusing experience hiking deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Trying to escape civilization.
Trying. And I distinctly overheard a group of hikers on the trail, not discussing the beautiful scenery or their adventures, but deeply engrossed in a discussion about vacuum cleaners.
Vacuum cleaners on a mountain trail. Seriously.
Seriously. Comparing models, discussing suction power, offering recommendations based on their own experiences. This wasn't remarkable content or triggers in a forest. It was pure, unadulterated practical value.
Just sharing useful info to help each other make a better purchase.
Sharing useful things strengthens social bonds, shows you're helpful, makes the sender feel good for contributing valuable knowledge.
One of the most obvious, powerful forms of practical value is saving money, right? Deals, discounts.
Absolutely huge drivers of sharing. They provide clear, immediate, quantifiable benefits. Online platforms like Groupon and Living Social built their entire businesses on this.
If an offer seems like an amazing deal, a genuine saving, people talk about it, pass it on.
They can't help it. But the psychology behind what counts as a good deal is actually more nuanced than it looks. Thanks to Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman's prospect theory.
Ah, prospect theory again. People don't evaluate things in absolute terms, but relative to a reference point.
Right.
Which can shift.
Exactly. Like 50 cents for coffee might seem incredibly cheap in Times Square, New York. Yeah. But that same 50 cents would be perceived as hugely expensive in rural India. Perception of value depends entirely on your reference point expectations, what you're used to.
And there's diminishing sensitivity.
Right. The same absolute change has a smaller psychological impact the farther it is from the reference point. Saving $10 on a $25 clock radio feels massive, 40% off. Worth driving across town for.
Definitely.
But saving $10 on a $1,000 television feels negligible, just 1% off. Almost no one would make the same effort. Same $10 saving, vastly different psychological impact depending on the base price and context.
This leads to a really actionable, brilliant takeaway for framing discounts effectively. The rule of 100.
Yes, the rule of 100 is incredibly useful. A simple guideline based on diminishing sensitivity. For products priced under $100, always use percentage discounts.
So 20% off. A $25 shirt feels better than $5 off.
Psychologically, the percentage feels more impactful, like a bigger deal. Conversely, for products priced over $100, always use absolute dollar discounts.
So $200 off a $2,000 laptop feels better than 10% off.
Feels far better, more substantial. This simple rule helps you frame practical value to maximize its perceived benefit, making the deal more appealing and, crucially, more shareable.
And it's not just about the numbers. Practical value is also more effective when it's easy for people to see and grasp quickly.
Obvious, maybe, but many businesses overlook this, absolutely.
Like grocery store discount cards.
Perfect example. They save you money, which is valuable. But the actual itemized savings are often buried on a long, unread receipt. Since most people don't scrutinize or share receipts, that real practical value isn't very visible or easily shareable.
If stores highlighted the total savings more prominently, maybe a bold line at the top.
It would become a much more contagious point of discussion. Or imagine a restaurant receipt showing exactly how much you saved by ordering the special versus a la carte, the visible value is shareable.
Okay, finally, there's a counterintuitive point about targeting and specificity. You might think broader content football, American food gets more shares because more people are interested. But not necessarily.
Surprisingly, no. Narrower, more niche content like an article on water polo strategy or a guide to Ethiopian restaurants in one specific city might actually be more likely to be shared.
More likely. How does that work?
Because while you might have many friends interested in football, no single person strongly or uniquely comes to mind when you read a general article. It's too generic.
Right. Who do I send it to? Everyone. No one.
But if you have only one or two friends who care deeply, passionately about water polo, when you read an article on that specific topic, you immediately think of that specific friend.
And you feel compelled to pass it along directly.
Exactly. This targeted personal sharing can make incredibly narrow content surprisingly contagious within its specific niche because it identifies a unique recipient for that news you can use.
All right, our final principle in this STEP PS framework, and one that often feels the most naturally compelling: stories.
We're wired for stories.
This highlights how narratives are inherently engrossing. They have this remarkable ability to carry information along for the ride. People think in narratives. We process the world through stories, not just isolated facts.
The quintessential example is the Ashen Tale of the Trojan Horse. This epic poem, Homer, Virgil, it's persisted for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Told and retold across countless cultures.
Full of drama, betrayal, heroism, action.
Inherently entertaining. But beyond the entertainment, it carried a vital underlying message. Beware of Greeks bearing gifts, or, more broadly, never trust enemies, even when they seem friendly.
So Homer could have just given us dry facts. Greeks built horse, Trojans took it in, Greeks attacked. Boring.
Exactly. By encasing that crucial lesson within a captivating story, characters, plot twists, dramatic tension, he ensured it would not only be passed along and remembered for millennia, but maybe even believed more wholeheartedly.
Stories are the original form of entertainment, right? More engaging, stickier than basic facts or stats.
And they provide powerful proof by analogy. If it happened to someone like me, in a situation like this, it could happen to me. Plus, they're much harder to argue against than simple ad claims because they resonate emotionally, personally.
Think about something like Land's End's customer service. A general ad claim like, "We have great customer service," is easily dismissed, forgotten, just words.
Totally ignorable.
But a personal anecdote, like the one about your cousin whose zipper broke on a Land's End coat after years, and the rep immediately offered a free, fast replacement.
Saying, it's free, we'll send a 2-day mail so you don't have to wait. It's too cold this winter.
That's a powerful, memorable, highly persuasive story. It vividly illustrates their customer is always right ethos in a way no generic ad ever could. That specific story is way more likely to be retold than a simple fact about their return policy.
This brings us to a crucial concept Berger calls valuable virality.
Valuable virality. Okay.
For a story, or any content, to truly benefit the brand or idea it's promoting, the brand or product must be an integral, inseparable part of the narrative. It can't just be an afterthought or a prop.
It has to be essential to the story itself.
Exactly. This is where so many viral stunts, despite generating massive attention, ultimately fail to deliver real value. Take GoldenPalace.com's Olympic streaker stunt back in Sydney 2000.
Oh, the guy in the tutu jumped in the pool.
Yeah, with GoldenPalace.com on his chest. Undeniably remarkable, grabbed headlines, huge attention. But the online casino was completely irrelevant to this story.
People talked about the crazy stunt, the security, the divers, not the casino.
Right. It was a classic fool in the pool scenario. The brand was just a prop, easily disconnected from the narrative, zero valuable virality.
Similarly, Evian's roller skating babies ad, incredibly cute, undeniably viral, millions of views.
Adorable babies on roller skates.
But at the end of the day, it had absolutely nothing to do with bottled water. So while people shared it and laughed, Evian's sales actually declined. High virality, low value for the brand because the product wasn't integral to the story.
Contrast those failures with successes where the product or idea is inseparable from the story. Barclay Prime's $100 cheesesteak again.
The price, the ingredients, intrinsically linked to the restaurant itself, drove valuable virality for the restaurant.
Or Jared Fogel's dramatic weight loss story. His transformation was directly, explicitly tied to eating Subway sandwiches. Subway wasn't incidental. It was central to his personal narrative. Compelling, valuable story for the brand.
And Dove's evolution video, showing the transformation of a woman through makeup and retouching into an unrealistic billboard model.
Incredibly impactful, profoundly viral, and it directly, powerfully aligned with Dove's long-standing campaign for real beauty.
The message about unrealistic beauty standards and the Dove brand were inextricably linked.
The story was powerfully viral and immensely valuable for Dove. People shared the message and remembered the brand because they were one and the same in the narrative.
This concept of the brand being a critical detail also applies to how stories get retold, what sticks around.
Absolutely. When narratives are passed down, critical details, those essential to the main point or core message, tend to stick and be faithfully reproduced. Irrelevant, tangential ones gradually drop out. We see it in the Trojan horse story, the core elements needed for the moral endure.
A compelling modern example is the explosion of the Vietnamese nail salon industry in the U.S.
A fascinating case study, not just random growth, powerfully fueled by pervasive, compelling stories of Vietnamese refugees like Tuan Le finding employment, empowerment, success through learning nail tech skills, often with initial help from figures like actress Tippi Hedren.
So the stories tied success directly to the industry itself.
Inextricably, making the act of becoming a nail technician a critical detail in these compelling narratives of adaptation, perseverance, economic opportunity. Immigrants seeking work, stability were profoundly influenced by these widely shared narratives, created a powerful social contagion effect where the industry itself became a central character in these real-life success stories. #outro.
So, what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've taken a deep dive today into the hidden science of contagiousness, moved far beyond just luck or going viral. We've systematically explored Jonah Berger's brilliant Step PS framework, giving you hopefully a clear, actionable roadmap to engineer virality.
We've learned that word of mouth is this colossal force, far more prevalent, more powerful offline than online. And we've dissected exactly how to leverage social currency, making people look good when they share. How environmental triggers can keep your ideas perpetually top of mind. How high arousal emotion compels action and transmission. How public observability drives powerful imitation, that monkey see, monkey do effect. How practical value spreads genuinely useful information people need. And finally, how compelling stories can carry your most important messages along for the ride, making them unforgettable.
And these powerful principles aren't just for, marketing giants or viral video sensations. They apply universally to anything you want to spread, from innovative products like blenders and hot dogs to critical public health campaigns, grassroots social movements, or even just advancing your own professional career, your personal brand. Contagiousness isn't accidental. It is indeed a science that can be understood and applied.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we challenge you to reflect on your own unique context. Look around you, think about your work, your passions, your ideas. What hidden triggers are you overlooking right now?
What untapped opportunities for social currency exist within your circle?
What untold stories are just waiting to be uncovered and shared?
What valuable information could you package to truly help others?
The power to make things catch on, to make your ideas resonate and spread, is truly within your grasp.
Go forth and make things contagious.